5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
And I don't need to deal with this, all right? I'll go to my agent, and we're going to find some other show.
Welcome now to the Crank Revolution Podcast, your source for cycling shenanigans. Listen now to our hosts, the purveyors of pedals, as we teach you more about cycling every single episode. So sit right back, pop a cold one, and enjoy our show. And here we are, guys. It is a record-setting special episode, so we also have Mike Nichols, the sponsored rider.
Hey,
why is this a special episode?
Hey,
Greg, does anyone know why it's a special episode?
No, I got nothing.
Episode 10?
Episode 10!
That number's not prime. No one cares.
It's our anniversary. It's the 10-episode anniversary.
Which actually turns into what? Cotton, I think? Is
That's the gift?
Oh, yeah.
I gave you a gift of a t-shirt.
You did.
Oh, it's
I gave you a
Worked
gift
out.
of glass.
And then
I don't think that's right.
TC got a little alien pop figure type thing, and
Yeah, it's
I got a
Xenomorph.
flask.
Yeah, Greg got a flask. So we are here to celebrate with you guys. We want to thank you for listening. Everyone been leaving reviews has been awesome. iTunes and Spotify. And some people have been actually reaching out to us via email and sending us amazing emails. Guys, we love it so much. And once again, we had one of our actual listeners reach out to us at crankrevolutioncycling@gmail.
That's right. Bob P. He's on actually on one of our group rides.
He is. And he gave us so many amazing ideas for future episodes. But this week we have Mike Nichols in the studio for the special 10th episode.
Excellent to be here.
Hi, Mike. Great to have you in studio.
Good to see you, Jeremy.
It is. It's always good to see me. Wait, am I allowed to say that? Or should someone
You're
else
not
say
in the
that?
kilt tonight, though.
I'm not in the kilt
Thankfully.
tonight.
Oh, thank
We
God.
No, I've
kind
been
of wish you
subjecting
were in the
TC
kilt,
to that in
though.
our construction efforts, and even the UPS lady came up and delivered today, and she's like, okay.
Yeah, she was wondering why you weren't wearing pants.
Well, I don't wear pants. I'm Scottish. It happens. You show up in a kilt and a proper Crank Revolution t-shirt, which you can find, by the way, very easily if you search Crank Revolution Media or Crank Revolution the Bike Shop
Where should they find these things?
on Facebook. I
Perfect.
just said that.
No, you didn't say
You
that.
Oh,
didn't
I
say
thought you
Facebook.
meant TC's trunk.
No, that is. He is.
All right.
He's like an ice cream man with music playing as he drives through the neighborhoods.
Yeah, it's just Queen on repeat. You just have to know when you hear Queen, run outside. TC's about to sell you something.
Bicycle.
Actually, I haven't changed it up lately. We're going with Kraftwerk's Tour de
Nice.
France album.
Nice.
Yeah.
Before we start our show, let's check in with TC and From the Mechanic's Mouth.
Hey guys, today's tech tip is about saddles. And so I had one of my riders bring me a bike that we was playing on a creek with, and I took a look at it. The first thing that I saw was that his saddle was broken. Just over time, things do wear down and they do break. So saddle's like one of the last things you think about that can actually kind of just break over time. He had about a 6-year-old saddle that had more than 10,000 miles on it. And the padding had started to really wear away, where he was complaining about saddle sores because that padding that was there had been moved around, pushed away, and he was really just kind of sitting on that hard plastic shell or hard carbon fiber shell. Saddles do break down. His had also started to droop, and so you'll notice that the rails can start to bend. The nose was kind of, a lot less material was there, and it really kind of started to shrink down. And also, a significant creak in the body of it, and that's the metal rails or carbon rails into the plastic or carbon of the frame, kind of starting to move around a little bit. Saddles do break down. I mean, there's a lot of different saddles. There's a lot of different material makers out there for them. Generally speaking, about every 5 years or so, I'd say if you're riding the same bike consistently, you'll want to swap out your saddle as well. So another thing to look at when you're replacing your saddle is the shape and style of it. If you've bought a saddle and it's now at the point where it's worn out, a lot of manufacturers carry along similar shapes, similar designs, and that's a great place to start. If you do have to start from scratch and they don't make anything that's anywhere near what you had, work with a professional bike fitter or professional bike mechanic for them to take a look at what you had to find what's going to be the best kind of fit for you, and work with them. A lot of shops are now running like a test ride program to see which saddles work for you. And that's From the Mechanic's Mouth.
Episode 10, let's do this before we break into the second part of Tale of Two Bike Tours, where everything went completely, insanely wrong for Merck and I, but that was the only end of day one hijinks. And if we recap back, I think that Greg and TC had a little easier time, but first, we need to make sure we find ourselves a proper beer. What is the beer of the week?
This week we have Only Child Brewing. The beer specifically is Happy Wife, Happy Life.
Is it both happy or is one hoppy?
So, Merck, do you find that's true? Happy wife, happy life?
Oh, yeah, very much so. Absolutely.
Mike Nichols, sponsored rider. Do you find that true? Happy wife, happy life?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
First
Oh,
from
you
Parsons.
see how the
Jeremy?
indoctrination happens.
And
No,
Jeremy,
just saying.
how, do you agree?
Yes. That's why I get time to podcast with you all, because I'm currently not in a relationship. So
He's
sad.
available.
I like long walks on the beach and John Tesh albums. No, I don't think that's where we're going. But they're pouring it. So happy wife, happy life. Do we know anything? What type of beer is it? It looks very kind of like pale and like
It's cloudy.
Hazy beer.
It's actually a Belgian IPA, so you're not too far off from saying that it's hazy.
And what is the ABV on this Belgian IPA?
142,123.
So this particular brewery is on our tour this September.
Ooh, the
good.
Mike Nichols Trail Hoppin' Brewery Tour. How many registrations you at right now?
So we're about 50 registrations
And
currently.
we want 150.
We need 150.
So how do we
That's
get
what-
people on that ride? You guys need to come out. We're going to hit the Des Plaines River Trail,
Yes.
and we're going to hit a bunch of brew tours coming up on what date?
So it's September 21st. Yes.
Where do they go?
So they go to bikereg.com, and it's Trail Hoppin'
No
Brewery
G.
Tour. No G.
How is this Happy Wife, Happy Life beer? Everyone have one?
Yeah.
First of all, to our listeners, ready? Pop a cold one, and thanks for keeping us for 10 episodes now.
Woohoo.
Yes, and let's see. Oh, who made the audible sound this time? After criticizing me, did you?
I
you
can
made
drink
a
out of a
slurp.
glass.
You made a slurp. Do
No.
it. Do it. Do it.
I did that just for Jeremy.
I was going to say, that was
sorry, Kurt.
Ah,
I'm so sorry,
where's
Greg.
TC?
I'm glad that the blame went to somebody else, but
You made an enemy for life.
What do we think of
Gonna
this?
stick
This is
with
an
the moral
interesting.
terms.
So first of all, this is a Belgian IPA, which are two
Lots of
styles
flavor
of
to it.
beer that I would never really
No.
combine.
They actually go well, though, surprisingly.
It's very grapefruity.
Yeah, I'm getting some kind of
Some citrus,
sweetness
yeah.
over the.
That's the Belgian part, right? That's the...
They
You
make
get
the
kind of
pucker.
that juicy, orangey taste that you would find like in a Blue Moon, but also in an IPA, like a hazy.
I saw you standing alone.
Wow.
Come on. I thought you were going to jump
I'm
in.
surprised
No
how
one?
cloudy it is.
Yes.
It's not far off of New England.
yeah, hazy IPA kind of. Yeah,
But one
that's very-
reviewer on a website out there said he can taste lemongrass and hints of pineapple out of it.
He has a better
Lemongrass?
palate than I.
His palate is fantastic.
His palate.
You know,
Speaking of
you can
palate-
also
Is that
just
like a
say those
musée?
things and like not have any like actual basis for
Well,
that.
no, but it's the Tour de France time, so we add French everything. Croissant. and
I-
Tour de
Well, I'll
France.
say that I get notes of croissant.
Croissant.
Yeah, actually, specifically almond croissant. That's
Yes.
what I taste.
But, I mean,
Did you eat it from a gilet?
from a
You don't
vest?
eat anything from a gilet.
I ate it from a
vest.
Mazette bag. Yeah.
It's going to be pretty
Oh,
disgusting
a
if
Mazet?
you
Is
do.
it a Mazet bag? A Mazet bag, yes.
However, you do get some type of like grassy flavor out of the back end. You kind
It
of
is.
get on the sides,
I mean, I'm just gonna
sides of your
say,
tongue,
as
but
always, it's a nice mouthfeel.
very
It's
safe
a
answer.
great mouthfeel as you climb the Champs-Elysees and eat from your Mazet
You don't climb
bag.
the Champs-Elysees.
You walk the Champs-Elysees. Oh,
Or you
Champs-Elysees.
or you sprint and win the
Oh,
criterium.
Champs-Elysees.
So everyone can tell I don't know anything get corrected all the time.
Au soleil,
'Cause
sur
you
le
say things
puits,
wrong.
au
Let's-
midi,
of
au
course I do.
minuit.
Just let them drink beer.
Oh, so we go to our sponsor. Eh, that is from our sponsor right there. Anyhow, so now that we've got a beer, we're going to jump into the return trip of the Tale of Bike Tours. It was terrible. It was a tale of two tours. Merc and I, to review, were on our own trip, and Greg and TC were on their own trip. But what happened as we last left off? Jeremy was afraid to wake up Merc in his hammock.
Yeah, and so at this point where we left off, we were, myself, Greg, and Mark were all drinking coffee, getting ready for the day,
Laughing and pointing at Jeremy.
laughing and pointing at Jeremy. And it's one where,
thought you were away.
You know,
I thought you were sleeping, actually.
as I've known Jeremy, as we've toured together a number of times now, he is never the first one out of bed or out of hammock. Never.
No, I just agreed with
Yeah.
you. I mean, I have to be honest. It's like one of those things that I want to wait until after the bears and the nocturnal animals go away, and then there's been 24
it's
hours.
new.
They're gone by 6.
It's noon when you get out of
because
bed.
the sun's up.
Speaking of noon, not a sponsor. Anyhow,
No, it's not.
It's true. I don't
and you
get
pronounced
out.
it right too.
Well, of course I did, because we're no longer in French mode. How does that sound, Mike?
Oh, let them drink beer.
Yes, exactly. We've got sophisticates here today. So you guys were all drinking coffee without me. Coffee is my favorite thing in the world. How could you do that?
And again, TC
Well-
makes a wonderful camp coffee.
I do my best.
Wait,
Cafe
he had
au
all
lait.
of so he had all his caffeine materials in his little frame bag on his tour Mac.
No, I think he gave it to Greg to carry.
No, Greg had the stove.
True.
I had the stove.
And the pot. So as we were drinking coffee, starting to get the day going, we had to find out where we were going to eat breakfast.
The most important meal of the day.
Especially on a bike tour. You got to start it off right.
Well, my breakfast started with a bunch of Sour Patch Kids or something from your
Yeah,
frame
watermelon
bag.
Sour Patch Kids.
Yeah.
Which
great.
I'm a little upset with myself that I didn't partake in that.
That's your own fault.
I know.
Hey, man,
It
that's
was a bad
hardcore.
call.
You don't go straight to the Sour Patch Kids, man. You start simple with a
That's
packet
one of my
sugar.
favorite things.
But now, all right, so now who chose the breakfast restaurant? I don't really recall.
I think
Greg.
I found it on Google.
Okay.
And I was like, guys, it's so close. It's only like 2.5
Well, Greg's
miles
like our
away.
hacker. He's the guy that pops open a laptop, finds a satellite, and finds all the nearest Yelp reviews, and then recommends things. How did it turn out on that?
Food was good.
The
Yeah,
food
food
was
was
good.
fantastic.
Did the route make any sense?
The only thing
Although-
that I suggested was, can we make it on the way?
Shut
And
up.
I heard
Hey, the Earth is round. Sorry, flat earthers. So everything is on the way to something.
Yeah,
Just saying.
you're always on your way. No, the biggest thing, the only reason I really chose this place was because the server thought we were all on the same soccer team.
Yes.
Yeah.
Football.
Football.
It's like, oh,
yeah.
you guys all play football. Yeah.
Because
no.
we're all wearing the Crank Revolution cycling jersey.
Which you can find if you go to. Never mind.
Because Crank Revolution totally says soccer.
Yes, soccer. Football. How does it sound in French, Mike?
Le football?
Yes, exactly. Was it on the way?
It was on the way.
Oh,
if
really?
you go 2.5 miles in the other direction.
Do you remember episodes ago when I razzed you that you were bringing us on a bike tour, and I'm like, oh, it's 1,000 feet uphill both ways, and the number of miles? You decided to make it a little harder on all of us, didn't you?
It wasn't harder for me.
Well, when we're on the wrong side of the whole state park, like Rock Cut's not a small place, man.
Look, Rockford has all the food on the west side, all right? If you're looking for
West
fine
side?
dining on the east side of Rockford, you're going to be really disappointed.
those
sorry.
are fighting words. Sorry, Rockford.
The east
listeners.
side of
But yeah.
Rock Cut State
okay,
Park.
so I'm going to jump in
Oh, then
here
you're going
and-
for crawdads in the
TC
creek.
I'm just going to jump in
Wow.
here.
Yeah.
So when you're planning a bike trip and you're going to do about 130 to 140 miles in 24 hours, it's best to not add any miles to that.
You know what?
Even as someone who's relatively fit, it's best to keep it in a straight line. And so, yeah, I fully agree with Merck that we should have chosen a breakfast spot that was along the route. And I told Greg one of my favorite lies to tell people when I'm on a bike tour with them is that even if I can't find, like, looking at my phone, if I can't find anything, I'll just say, yeah, it's about 6-7 miles away, and we just got to start heading the correct direction. You just say that.
You're going to be a great dad.
Oh yeah, I've learned.
I've totally stolen that, and I've started to use that on
Yeah,
rides.
because it's ones where like I feel that in the majority of places in America, you're hard pressed to go more than 10 miles in any direction and not bump into a diner. Now there are
Except on
exceptions.
our return
There
trip.
are exceptions, but like it's ones
There
where
are
we
exceptions.
weren't really looking. But like when I was riding through 29 Palms and then into Nevada, there is nothing. There is nothing there.
So
even
wait.
what's called a diner doesn't have running water. It's really terrible.
All the tours we've been on, then.
Oh yeah, I've
you
done the
nag-
CO dozen
Yes,
times.
all the time. It's like, hey,
But it
man,
always-
where's it going? You're like 6 or 7 miles. It's fine. Keep pedaling, and then it's like 30 miles. I'm like,
No, it's
is
never
my
30.
brain going
It's like-
crazy?
It's literally 5 more minutes, kids.
So you're saying motivationally, you never give me accurate answers, just really motivating.
Yeah,
ones.
positive answers that are hopeful. And so it's ones where I find that, at 6 or 7 miles, you're able to find something, or if few people are going to scoff when it's 6 or 7 turns into 12.
Scoff.
Because at least in the right direction, right? I mean,
Yeah,
at least you're making progress.
Oh, we're all scoffing at Greg over here.
Because, he added about 7 miles.
The
to ours.
breakfast was good.
I
though.
added
But you know
5
what? The
miles round
breakfast
trip.
place was good. What was it called again? The Waffle Hut?
Waffle stop or something.
I don't know.
Yeah, but it was delicious.
The thing that killed me though is we managed to that point. Merck
Now,
and
was
I,
it delicious, or were you just really hungry?
No, it was delicious. I couldn't finish the last little wedge.
Oh, yeah, I love
And
that.
I slid that over to TC.
Disappeared
His
instantly.
eyes lit up.
You do the same thing I do. You look at it and go, "Am I going to still fit these bibs tomorrow?" Just
Yeah.
pass it to
Yeah,
the thin guy.
exactly.
Pass
Yep.
it to the athlete. He'll burn it somehow. But the thing is, we managed to avoid all mechanicals, even with all the hijinks last episode. And then we come out to the bikes.
Oh,
And yours has water dripping out of it.
I had a flat. I noticed the pressure was low, and I'm like, "Hey, who's got a frame pump? I just want to use CO2."
Did
But
you?
But a problem happened.
But did
I
you?
poked the sidewall of the tire, and I don't have tubeless setup on this. And all of a sudden, the whole thing just drops because I had like 70 pounds of
was
gear.
crazy.
It clunks into the ground. It somehow, the bead between those Riddler tires and the rim held air even though the tube was gone. Instantly flat. But that was not the first flat, but that's a different story.
yeah, because we changed that, and then we finally got going again. What fell off the bike?
This only happens to me. I had a rear rack and I had 2 panniers on it. And of course, this is a time. Now, last time I used TC's super special Chris King custom-made touring wheels.
So you dropped things
I
through.
dropped a tripod through
Did
it
no
and
one
took
ride
out
those
5 of the
wheels?
spokes. No, I rode them that trip.
What about this trip?
No, last time I touched
Oh,
those,
yeah,
though,
you
I
did.
put a tripod through it, destroyed them before we went on our big bike tour we talked about. Now, of course, though, we're rolling along home from breakfast, and all of a sudden I hear, brrr, my wheel starts to lock up. So in panic, I lock up all the brakes. I look back. My pannier goes right into the wheel. I am so lucky it didn't torpedo and explode those very expensive wheels.
This is where I just was frustrated with everything and just kept slowly riding ahead and just like, cool, he'll figure it out. I'm
we
gone.
we're on a path, and
He
these
did,
things
didn't you?
only happen to me, though. You have to admit, these things only happen
Yeah.
to me. I don't know why, but yeah, I almost took out
Maintenance.
that very expensive custom wheel set again.
I was afraid of the family that you almost took out.
Well, it happened.
Oh,
It's
okay.
not my fault. Luckily, at the time, because of Greg's redirection uphill, like 10 miles an hour.
With milk in his hand, by the way.
Just
Oh,
granny
that's
Garrett.
normal.
Yeah.
Like holding
Like
it,
the- yeah,
like
holding
a
it.
server.
Look,
server on a
look, you're
tray.
the only person ever that leaves a restaurant with a chalice full of milk. The rest of us were done eating. We were ready to go home.
True.
I don't know why you felt the need to ride back with your
Because if we ran
post-ride
into a
protein
wild
drink.
animal that was like lactose intolerant, I could have won that situation without having to kneecap you instantly
side.
like TC.
Jeremy,
Bike tour planning
Jeremy,
ahead.
I love you,
Survival
and I feel
plans.
comfortable in telling you this.
Yes.
We will never be on tour together where you'll have to kneecap me because I'll always be ahead of you.
Shots fired.
You don't know about ranged weapons. Although it would have to be in the first 45 seconds or so because, as Merck and I quickly learned, before we even got back to Rock Cut State Park from the breakfast diversion in the wrong direction, TC and Greg were already gone.
Gone.
By the time we
Like I
got back
said.
to our start point, essentially, they were already so far ahead, we were just on rolling hills.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll call those rolling hills.
Yes.
I just,
What would you wanna call
In my
them?
mind, just a straight uphill.
No, this is Illinois. Don't be.
really that bad.
We know
You're just
better.
East of Rockford is rolling.
I mean, you had not slept. Like, you got in at about 2 a.m. and then we're up sitting at the picnic table at 6, which means you didn't sleep at all.
Yeah. I slept for a few hours. I did hear this lovely sawing next to me.
TC knows. He put his hammock like 30 feet away. You and I
Well,
were
I was just
so
the first
close.
one there and picked my own 2 trees.
Yeah, we got the last 3 trees that we
Yes.
could choose
yeah,
from.
that it could reach.
There was a point where I'm like, I'll just sleep on the picnic table. Oh.
Well, so we had a flat from the restaurant that
You say
Greg. Well, I'm sorry that I include my foibles.
The
Like,
royal we.
you guys just gonna leave me behind? Like, if Jeremy doesn't make it, it's fine. I mean, I do.
We're not
produce
Marines,
This podcast.
we're
Just
cyclists.
saying. We had more things go on because we kept going and going and going. Of course, because Greg put us in the middle of gravel. By the time we hit the long straightaway, you and I were hitting brutal headwinds.
Hold on
25,
a
30?
second. Hold on a second. Brutal gravel. It was only one stretch of road, a quarter-mile long, across 62-mile route.
I'm gonna challenge your facts on that one.
Did you get
there
lost
was-
again?
We
He
might
must
have.
have.
Maybe.
I think we did.
Things were kind of fuzzy
It
at
was
that
wibbly
point.
wobbly, yeah, because we started hitting the same thing, but instead of bonking like the sugar issues and everything else we had, we were hitting the headwind. Second day, like TC said, it was 100 and how many miles in 2 days?
It was about 130.
Over
Yeah.
2 days, yeah.
Over
And then
2
the
days,
wind
yeah.
got up. So the thing is, we started planning
Reasonable.
and we're like, dear God, what do we do? What do we do?
Well, the one thing I was looking forward to through that headwind, I knew that pizza place was coming up.
Oh.
I'm like, oh,
I
we're just gonna
was
get a
too.
pizza. We're gonna sit. We're gonna chill.
So the place where you guys got water the night
Yeah,
before.
yeah.
Didn't-
Guess what?
well, yeah.
And not that can of Coke, because that was hers.
That was
That
hers.
was hers.
Wouldn't give it to
It
me.
was closed.
Yeah, and they're
Yeah.
basically,
It was a
yeah, we're not
Sunday.
doing it today. So we got water from someone else, but you and I were hurting.
Oh, we were hurting.
Sunday in small town America.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, I mean-
they were actually from Wisconsin that gave us water.
Oh, yeah, we ran
Nice.
into people that gave us bottles of water. But we were starting to, at that point, go, hey, I'm actually hurting. This is bad. The headwinds were kicking in. We knew that Greg and TC were so far ahead of us. That's
Only 10
when-
miles from what I heard.
But we started hitting the trails and going, 5, 6, 7 miles.
yeah.
It was getting to the point where it wasn't fun. And you stopped talking to me. You became like this distant mind goblin, like
It
you're
got
swearing and
monotonous.
cussing at yourself.
It got
I mean, it
monotonous.
wasn't that
I was
bad.
chewing the bar.
Headwinds are so rough. I mean, it's a hill without a peak.
Yeah.
So
It is.
there is no reward. And so yeah, that Kishwaukee Kishwaukee Valley Highway that we were just, crushing on the way out.
Yeah.
Going like 24 miles an hour. Yeah, Greg and I were sitting there in a very tight rotating pack at 16.
Yeah.
And pedaling like we were going 22
And
miles
before
an hour.
we got there, we both stopped where we knew we had to turn left to go straight
Took
into
a
the
nice
wind for
break.
11 hours. So it was like 11 miles.
hours, yeah.
It felt like 11
Yeah,
hours.
it's gonna be
I was
about
like, we're going to take a break. We're going to breathe. And we took our shoes off. We were getting real comfortable. We're getting real dry. And yeah, as soon as we started going,
just
it was,
fighting
we were going 100 cadence the entire time straight into the wind.
Yeah.
On
it was
loaded bikes.
Strong effort.
So we had to pull out the nuclear option. You were bonking so hard. You looked at me at one point, and I felt so bad. I was like, "Do you need to just lay back? Like, are you okay?" And you're like, "Grr," you were growling at me, and you're
No,
like,
I wasn't.
Just stop for a minute. Not you, Gerd. You were at Chris like 5 miles ahead.
Oh,
20
No,
miles.
well,
Sorry.
10-5.
Merc, is it
Yes.
true? Were you bonking?
He was having a hard time.
I was having a hard time. That was some heavy wind. I just had my nose in it pretty much all damn day.
Even though I was getting out of the saddle, getting in saddle, and I felt like I had some energy, every pedal push felt harder. And I looked at you, and every pedal push looked demoralizing. So we called the nuclear option.
Well, no,
You used the red phone?
We did. We abused our sponsor, Ryan. I called up Mike. I'm like, "Hey, man, I love you, bro. Like,
You remember that
we're
thing
having
I
some
did for
bonk
you?
moments, and like, would you be willing?" And he's
No,
like,
I remember
got
getting that
you."
call. It's what you doing?
Well, prior to the call, I did have to get home that day because I was traveling out of town. And all we can talk about was, we got to find a place to camp. I know we're not going to make it home. We got to find a place to camp.
We started realizing it was a time of day where we're going to get home super late. And you had a vacation with your family coming up. And then all of a sudden, after I call Mike, and he's like, "I got you, bro. I'm coming. I got another flat."
My head was down, and I was just pedaling along. And I looked down at my Garmin, and all I saw was flat. I'm like, "Oh, God, is he bonking again?" And I turned. He was walking his bike.
No,
I'm
I
like,
literally had a flat.
Yeah, he had a flat tire.
But he was walking directly on your wheel, and that's when you truly realize that the headwind
bad
was
that
awful.
was.
That's
how
how bad it
hard
was.
he was bonking. Yeah.
So, Mark, at that point, when you knew that someone was on their way, were you kind of glad to see the flat?
No. I really,
I want off the bike.
I had this encouragement to go, I know I can make it to Woodstock. I know I can make it to Woodstock. I know I can make it to Woodstock.
And that's what he said in 1970, whatever that was.
yes, well, totally different.
60, whatever it was.
On a Schwinn world
But
tour.
when I heard that you were coming, I did get that little bit of boost of energy going. I want to make it
make it to
further. I got to make it
Nichols is
further.
coming.
Yeah, exactly. The cavalry's coming. Thank you, Lord.
So you sped up, and you're like, every minute we get closer to Woodstock is time off of this excruciating.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
Meanwhile, so Greg and I are finishing up almost into Woodstock.
no, we're rolling
Wait, did
into
we
Kish-
admit it to you? Did we text
No,
you?
no.
No.
So Chris and I are taking 30-second pulls.
we were hoping you'd
1 minute
know.
pulls.
Yeah,
going
and you
down
guys
this
are on
11
this.
mile
What was
route.
the name of this god?
Kishwaukee Valley,
That's it.
Kishwaukee.
Yep.
which I purposely designed on this route to suffer in, but wow, that was terrible.
As far as Spec Ops Rescue goes, you revealed our pain to them by driving down Kishwaukee Valley.
So-
you didn't
Yep,
repel.
Well, and I actually, what I saw were
Helicopter,
two crank jerseys.
stealth.
I said, there's Jeremy and Mark.
Couldn't you shave off the mustache? Something to be in disguise.
So Chris and I are just going, there's the tree line. We're finally out of the wind. This will be great. Let's take a breather, for the love of God. We pull over, and suddenly we see this car come flying at us, and I look over my shoulder as it passes us, and I go, that's a lot of bumper stickers on that car.
Well, did you not
And I
also
go,
the
TC.
honking?
There was a
The
honk.
There's a honking, and I go, TC, I think that was Mike.
And then we figured out he wasn't coming
so,
for us.
So it's like, so we dialed the phone.
Suckers.
I take out the Crank Revolution smartphone of choice and dial Mike and going, Mike? And he goes, hey guys, I just passed you. I was like, wait, who did you mean? And he goes, wait, this is Greg. I was like, yes, it is Mike. He goes, oh no, Jeremy needs me. I was like,
First of all, Mike, don't turn me in. Mark, next time we're going full on crack open code breaker. We're going straight to an Enigma
You got to
code.
tell me this. You got to tell me it's secret.
You were supposed to approach from the south, not from the east.
to which TC and I just erupt in just kind of
It's like, yep, saw that happening.
tired chuckles and going, yeah.
Sounds like Jeremy. Yeah,
But then
I
I'll
think
say
that
the
does.
pressure was off for us. So,
Yeah, because we were really trying to make sure there was some distance, just in case they were on our ass.
Wait, are you insinuating
so-
that Jeremy fails?
So Greg, TC, I gotta ask. So these guys abandoned. I pick them up. So how was the rest of your ride back?
It was fantastic. We rode all the way to Woodstock. We stopped at McDonald's.
Uh-huh.
I ate more calories than I needed.
And then
TC
all
had
the
a
way,
Slurpee?
and then the
Yeah.
rest of the way back home.
Absolutely.
yeah, on a train.
Yeah,
We rode a train.
Look, TC truly appreciates the multiple types of
Multimodal.
transportation.
It's really important. Yeah.
The Chicagoland offers a lot of
Wait, was
options
it a
for
pedal
travel.
train? Did you like it on one of those
It was.
bar trains
It was.
and you pedal along?
It was exactly like that, except it was a metro.
Wait, so wait a minute. The most important thing is you guys know my attitude. The second Jeremy fails, you're like, yep, now we just win. We can take whatever we want.
Well, it's not quite like that. We got on
You
the train.
reveled in my failure.
We did not, honestly.
Oh, okay. So wait a minute, though. So you guys bailed right after we bailed?
No.
Well, I mean, we were like 15 miles down the road from where you bailed.
We were so excited to get back in town and be like, hey, guys, like, we took a different route and we beat you. And it turns out Mike has been, like, usurping our whole plan the whole time, accidentally not rescuing you.
You
while
might
displaying
want to
our
fill me
secret.
in on the plan.
I thought you would know the plan.
Just magically.
We did nachos together, and I never turned in some of the things you've done.
I honestly, when I heard that they took the train, I felt better about
Oh, man, you
myself.
feel better, too. It made TC human.
Yeah, like I literally got to that McDonald's and just bought a large soda and just started filling it up and just chugging it and just time and time again, like 3 or 4
That's
times.
like you chugging poison for urethane.
Yeah,
No,
but this-
not
this-
for me.
this
That was
tells-
sugar and water. That's all I needed.
This tells you the different types of athletes that we are. He drinks 3 sodas. I order a land, sea, and air and a medium fry. And so
Which is a
it's
What?
a McDouble, a
McChicken.
McChicken, and a fish fillet. I make that into a sandwich, and I devour that in
Land,
about
sea,
3 or
air.
bites.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah,
This is new to me.
yeah. Land, sea, and air. And then I'm like, and TC goes, let's take the metro. I'm going, I just ate all those calories. Can we ride just a little bit? TC and I arrive in Barrington.
Yep, with another 16 miles to get home.
And we decide, it's like, we get off the train, and we've ridden through Barrington
Dozens of
hundreds of times. We literally can't figure out what direction to leave the train platform. We're exhausted.
Bike brain. Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
it was bad. But then we figure out the way. We go down some roads we're not used to. And
Well,
they were surprisingly fun to
You
ride.
don't know these roads?
No, so we
Our Wednesday group ride goes
No,
through here
no.
all the
We
so
did
we,
not
we
hit
made
these
a
roads.
change when we were on Otis. We turned on
Otis?
Otis.
Redding, one of the greatest
Um,
musicians.
It's a more direct line. That was our thinking. This is the quickest
It
way
breaks
for
you
me
down
to
to
be.
Otis.
As soon as I got home, I just hopped right in the shower and then went to bed for like 12 hours.
We rode all the way back. We kept pulling and swapping positions throughout the entire thing. I was like, all right, Chris, that was a good ride. And he said, no problem. Me going, yeah, I looked really brave and tough in front of TC. I get home and I go, oh, for the love of God, please just give me an ice bath and kill me, please.
Wait, so the true lesson learned was whether or not Mike got involved, we beat you back. We won the Tale of Two Tours. We made it back before you did. We were actually in pajamas and sleeping by the time you got back.
But when we got home, we were both in bibs.
All I know is I had to pack for vacation, finish packing, and I think I slept for like 13 hours.
You did. Like the next day, you're like Rapunzel. Not Rapunzel. What's the one that slept
Rapunzel.
forever? Sleeping Beauty. You're like, hey, I just slept an entire day, and I'm going on vacation with my family.
I'm just imagining Merc went, honey, I'm going to go away for just a quick bike packing trip. It's going to be fine. I'll do the first leg of the driving. Don't worry. He comes home and he goes, honey, you need to drive there all the way.
I wish that
I just
happened.
can't.
That was what we sounded like after Dirty Kansas to each other.
No.
Can you drive?
No.
No, can you drive?
That's what I sounded like when you walked into the room and I told you, turn off the light. I'm asleep. I see another overnight coming in the near future where it's going to be the millennials versus you, whatever the hell you are.
And
Can we
you're
say,
barking up
can
the
we say
wrong
there's
tree.
no GPS allowed on this one?
Yes.
And you have to forage your own food?
No.
Why not?
No, Jeremy will eat literally what's on the side of the road.
I don't know what I'll eat. I'll find something.
There's a McDonald's somewhere around the corner.
And
Find a
TC
pancake house about 6 miles out of the way.
and TC and I welcome you to the campground as we're already well rested by the time you
Like
arrive.
every other planning adventure, you'll send us 5 miles in the wrong way with 300 feet of climbing for no reason. So perfect.
300 feet of
Perfect.
climbing? That's brutal.
Oh,
It
God,
is.
bro.
It's 300. That's like 30 people that are 10 feet tall. So anyhow, that has been the tale of 2 bike tours. The whole lesson you should have really learned from this is very simple.
Ride with TC and Greg.
No, the people that you listen to, we are here because we have a passion and a love for cycling. But the fact is, we're not perfect. There's a lot of things we're going to teach you, but the experiences that we learn along the way are amazing. Whether you're with us, like Merc and I having disadventures, or TC and Greg having actual adventures, get out there and live your adventure because that's what we're here for you. We want you to learn from our foibles, our mistakes.
What's that say on your cup, TC?
Live your bike adventure.
Live your bike adventure, brought to you by Crank Revolution. We want to do that for you.
Join us now as we expand your cycling nomenclature. Let's go to the keeper of cognition, the prophet of proficiency, the peddler of phraseology. Join us now with Professor Greg for Velo Vocabulary.
Yes, this is Greg. I am your professor of vocabulary of everything velo. This week I've got 2 more words for you to listen in on, and I hope we're going to get some great definitions at the local tea party of conversation.
All right, guys, we're back with the Giggle Sisters, who are twins. Well, we're short one today, but are you girls ready? So, cheers, everybody. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Okay, so the first word is bonk.
Like the camps. Honk, honk. I go in a car and I honk.
You honk. No, with a B, bonk.
You have like one of those bells and you honk it and you hit yourself at the same time. So on a bike.
So you're honking your bell, but you hit yourself with it, so you bonked your bell.
No! So you bonk your head on
bonk
the tree.
on the tree. Okay.
So it might be when you bump into someone when you're riding.
Here is your next one. This one's going to be a phrase. This is going to be an interesting one. Protein cloud.
It's like a protein bar.
What?
For cycling.
All right, that's the 2 words for today. Is there any last words you guys want to say before we close out our tea party for the day?
I like Cheetos.
A bonk, or bonking, may sound like a funny thing to hear on a group ride, but when you're in the middle of activity, it's the last thing you want to feel. A bonk is when your body is completely depleted of any glycogen stores and you have no energy left in your body to continue. You're going to feel suddenly very fatigued and want to just fall over and take a nap, almost as if you've been hit by a rubber mallet and the word bonk appeared across your head. Whenever you go out for a ride, remember to carry a snack with you. Fortunately, Mother Nature has a snack that's always ready and available for you, especially on the bike trails. Just open your mouth as you travel through an area that's wooded, and suddenly a cloud full of gnats and flies will end up inside of your mouth and covering your eyes. We affectionately call that a protein cloud.
I love bugs. I like to eat them.
This week on Crank Revolution, we have Kate Anofsky here to talk to us about ultra cycling and also rondoneuring.
Ooh, and we also have Mike Nichols in, and you've done some of that rondoneuring.
Yes.
Kate, on a scale of 1 to 12, 12 being your granny gear, 1 being your smallest cock, how badly did I butcher your name?
You missed a letter, but that's all right.
Which one did you miss? Which one did you
Look, the
miss?
Z is silent. The Z is silent. I don't understand that.
And Kofsky.
This week on Crank Revolution, we have Kate Anakovsky here to
You
talk.
added another A. Ankovsky.
Oh, well, welcome, Kate. Thanks for coming on our show.
Thank you so much for having me.
How many miles are you up to this year, Kate?
Just over, I think, 5,100.
Oh, just a few.
It's July.
So you're only on track to do
About
10,000
10,000.
miles this year.
So 10,000, yeah.
How did you even get into cycling in the first place?
It happened super by accident. I did not do anything athletic for the first 30 years of my life.
Were you bitten by a radioactive bicycle and suddenly you have cycling powers?
I've seen that. That's true.
I moved to Minneapolis, I think is what happened, but it's just such a great community here, and to be surrounded by commuters, all times of year, all weather, all conditions, was very inspiring. And then we had one particularly bad winter a few years ago where it was just ice, for 3 months out of the winter. And once spring came, I just really felt like I needed to get out of my apartment, get out of the car. And so I bought a kind of cheap hybrid and started commuting on it. Saw an REI video about Lael Wilcox. And at that point, she was training for the Trans Am in 2016, which she went on to crush and won the overall race. And 2 weeks later, I bought an endurance bike and have been training to try to
One
work up.
person can do so much.
So in 2 months, you went from buying a hybrid bicycle to buying an endurance bike.
Content marketing, I'll tell you. REI, I've spent a lot of money there ever since. Kudos to them for putting out great videos. I bought the hybrid, I would say, probably about 8 months before. I was just out commuting kind of thing, and then bought the endurance bike 2 weeks after Lael won, and then ended up buying my Warbird 5 months after that, because I thought what would really help me do well is an 11-speed versus the 10-speed that I had bought. And that one was going to really
Welcome
help.
to cycling. There's always
Reaching
better
for that
equipment.
one new tech.
I had listened to a webinar by Jason Kulma, who did the Trans Am, and he was saying that his best piece of training was to complete Trans Iowa, which I knew nothing about. I knew nothing about gravel or any part of the lore behind Trans Iowa.
Yeah, Trans Iowa's no joke. That's a real deal brutal race.
And Kate, correct me if I'm wrong, that was your first ultra that you threw yourself at, wasn't it?
That was my first race, period. That was my first race.
Wait,
And
so you just chose that for your
Yeah.
first time out?
So you had never had you done 100 before, or
I had attempted an organized ride, an organized century, but not a race.
so you go from a Gran Fondo 100-mile ride to 350 miles of gravel.
Well, I made it 33 miles. So.
I know guys who are 10 or 15 year veterans of cycling who attempt Trans Iowa with the best amount of knowledge to go into that and who cannot complete it.
The toughest of the tough. I just threw my name in the lottery and happened to get in, and very shortly thereafter drove back to Minneapolis and ended up getting a coach, because it was very clear to me that you can't go 30 years without doing anything athletic and then trying to get into this. Those of us who kind of go for these longer distances don't necessarily know how to pace our goals. And so having somebody to tell me when I was pushing it too hard, having someone tell me when I was taking it too easy, balancing recovery.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of made all the difference.
And that truly highlights, I think, what separates Kate from most other cyclists. I was like, I want to lose some weight. Kate goes, I just watched some people do some incredible cycling.
Yeah, let's do that.
I'm going to throw myself at this. This is going to be great. I'm going to do 33 miles, and now I need a coach. And what happened then, Kate?
I went into this not knowing anybody in the cycling community, riding with groups. You have a group of people that some are faster than you, some are slower than you. All of those make you better. And so I was really starting out from scratch.
One of the things that I really love about your story is that, I'm about 10, 12 years of riding, racing, bike mechanic. And so I do love riding with someone who's brand new to the sport. What are they what's in their mind? They're just trying to stay upright. They don't have the concept of how to shift or when to shift yet, even.
Yes.
And so it's great to hear someone who is at that point effectively, who's like, you know what, cool, I'm going to try Trans Iowa.
The gravel community is just so incredible, so supportive of
that's very true.
someone like me who's coming into it. I have friends here who tend to podium on most of the local events who are very eager to give me feedback or give me encouragement. And so you're not going into it feeling like, God, they just don't even want me to be here, or I'm a fraud. I think everyone is just really eager to teach what they've learned and get feedback from others, regardless of how long they've been cycling or what their successes have been.
You're right. The gravel community, very welcoming, extremely welcoming.
So you had your early events when you first started riding. What were the ones that you found the most success with?
I still have to complete an ultra at the distance that I set out to complete. Some of these ultras have multiple distances. One in particular, Spotted Horse, which is put on by Sarah Cooper down in Iowa. There was a 200 and a 150. And last October, a bunch of people got hypothermia. It was pretty bad. It was
That's in October, right?
Hold on. It gets worse. They got hypothermia. Kate, go ahead.
Everybody except, I want to say 4 people dropped down to the 150 because it was clear no one was going to make the cutoff. I think out of those 4, maybe a couple of them did finish the 200. But I did finish the 150. So even though I technically completed an ultra, it was not the distance I had set out to do.
That's an incredible achievement, though. Although I did see a different story. You're known for being pretty tough, but something else happened on one of these rides.
Well, I'm much more commonly remembered and known locally as the one who quit an ultra to rescue a kitten in Dam 2 years ago.
Oh.
Well,
tell us about that.
Yeah,
hold on. We need details.
We need
on
more
that
on
one.
that one.
So you're
what color was the kitten?
Hold on, you're doing
So
an
you're the
ultra.
humanitarian racer. This is great.
You're doing an ultra. What's the distance?
It's 240 miles.
All right, and you found a kitten on the side of the road.
At mile 60 at about 4 a.m.
And you now decide to do what?
My dear, dear mother flew in from Columbus, Ohio to be my support person for this race. I sent her a picture of the kitten and she was like, oh, that's cute. I knew she wasn't, like, this was her sign of sleep deprivation, that she did not realize what was about to happen.
I mean, that's a weird equation to put together. Like, wait, you're doing a race and then now the kitten?
Well, so she just said, oh, that's cute. Well, luckily the first checkpoint where my mom was waiting was about 6 miles down the road. I put the kitten in my Camelback.
That's not good for your bladder, I'm thinking.
Yeah, you didn't put it in the bladder, did you? Because cats hate
No.
water.
They're
No,
missing their market if Camelback helps save a kitten.
I just got this adorable picture of a kitten in a Camelback.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Don't
poking
give
her
up,
head out
kid.
of
Yeah,
her shoulder.
exactly.
So I get to the checkpoint and the volunteers gave her like a little cup of milk, which was very sweet. And then my mom said that she was not going to entertain this kitten for 18 hours in the middle of nowhere, and that I either had to call the race or let the cat go. And I called the race. And
Aw. You called off the ultra. You saved the cat. What happened to the cat? I have to ask.
the cat is currently in my living room right now.
Is it an ultra endurance athlete as well?
No, but she often gets bike grease on her fur.
Oh, nice.
Oh, perfect. So she's your mechanic.
Wait, you're not using
Yes.
the cat to clean the chain, are you?
I think it's kind of a benefit of her being curious.
You have an incredible year ahead of you just to finish out the calendar, utterly destroying any miles that any of us could ever hope to do this year. I wish you all the luck in the world. And
Thank you,
Kate, I just want to keep saying, keep it up. Keep crushing those miles, because for me at least, you're an inspiration to follow, and I hope our listeners will start chasing you out there. Where can everyone come to find you, either on Instagram, Facebook, or Strava?
Strava is great. Come follow me there. I'm on Instagram at KatieBug56. And then you can just look me up on Facebook.
Thank you so much, Kate. We've loved to have you on.
Thank you.
Oh, Suzu's really cute.
Chris just found you on Instagram.
Yep, I just followed you. I'm the tiniest Chris.
The TC. All right. Thanks, Kate.
Talk to you guys. Talk soon.
Take care.
Thanks, Kate.
All right. Thank you,
Bye.
Kate.
Now let's join Mark for another amazing tale of triumph and woe.
Well, here's another crazy story that happened at the Tour de France. This takes place on the fabled Mount Ventoux climb. This was stage 12 of the 2016 version. Chris Froome was in the yellow leader jersey and climbing like a man possessed. Well, the worst thing could happen to Froome. He had a mechanical. Well, the roads were so clogged with spectators, the team vehicles could not get through. While looking at a bad situation of losing his yellow jersey because he could not get a new bike, Froome took it upon himself to figure it out. He abandoned his bike and started running up the mountain. With this action, he saved himself time waiting for the team car with a new bike. His quick thought and action saved the yellow jersey for that year, which led him to winning his 4th overall Tour de France victory.
Oh, my friends, that has been another episode of the Crank Revolution podcast. First thing we'd like to say is thank you. Thanks for being our listeners and sharing the show with your friends. Leave us a rating or a review wherever you get your podcasts. We love the feedback. You can reach out to us by email at crankrevolutioncycling@gmail.com and find us on Facebook at Crank Revolution Media. Yeah, don't forget to join us next week for more cycling shenanigans. And don't forget to watch the tour. See you guys all next week.